All right, let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man, I forgot my chocolate bread again. It's sitting in there just 100 feet away. Maybe I'll let you do the intro, huh?
I probably can't do your intro.
All right.
I guess you'll have to go without your chocolate.
Okay, to be continued. Okay. Oh, does she really have a website?
Yeah, she has a Facebook page for her business.
Yeah, but then I got to give a lot of information about me. The chocolate pudding bread is back, ladies and gentlemen. After many weeks, years it seems like, of not having it, it's back. So anyhow, welcome to the Uper Farmers Cigar Garage Talks. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? If you didn't guess from the intro, my wife is here with me.
Making fun of him.
Making fun of him. What are we smoking tonight? Let's just... A special cigar. My wife doesn't even know how special this one is. I broke it out just for her. The Wild Hunter. Oscar Valdez. Yeah. It's actually a very rare cigar. I was given it when I ordered a bunch of cigars months and months ago. It's been sitting in my humidor waiting for a special occasion.
So the first Sunday of Lent is a special occasion?
No, you're the special occasion. You came under smoke with me, and well, you're not smoking, but you're also drinking. But what do you have tonight? Let's talk about what you got. Show your glass.
I
Put it under the
can't
camera.
actually remember what it is. Amaretto?
Amaretto.
It's kind of a sweet liquor.
Now, is it the fancy, expensive bottle of amaretto?
Actually, I think it's probably the cheapest.
The cheapest
bottle
one you can
Amaretto.
find. Your
It's
favorite.
my favorite brand.
Your
It's
favorite.
actually the brand my mom and dad used to drink.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually mixed it with cognac. So they would have...
One of the cheapest with one of
Amaretto.
the most expensive alcohols known to
Right.
man.
They would sit down and have their coffee in the evening and have amaretto and cognac on the, either the porch or it depended on where we lived at the time.
Right? And to go with that, I have... My wife is not nice. She knows I'm dyslexic. And it took me forever to figure out this said Satin Sky, not Satan Sky.
Satin skies, okay, yeah.
So I was like, oh my god, I was even in the store with her. I'm like, does that say Satin or Satan Skies?
I did not
She
go with
wasn't-
you this time.
She wasn't paying attention. You know, you were a couple times ago, actually. You were like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, oh, shoot, I don't want to get a beer that says Satan Skies. And then I struggled. I looked down, like, no, that's definitely Satin Skies. It's a beautiful sounding beer. Oatmeal stout. Doesn't have a lot of head on it. It's kind of depressing. Dark, though. Yeah, that sucks some sunlight in.
dark.
Mhm. Oh, that's not bad. That sucks in some of the sunlight in there, but bitter. I'm not complaining too much, though. A little bitter beer. I'm not really tasting the creamy oatmeal. A little oatmeal taste in there. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, honey. So we're back out in the garage. You want to talk about summer plans. This is the first Sunday, by the way. We're shooting this on Sunday, the first Sunday of Lent. In case any of you don't know, on Sunday of Lent, it's a day of rest, so you can have stuff like alcohol, sweets, cigars. If you watch the actual video, which this one will probably drop actually the second week of Lent. The one that's going to drop this week, I think there's still a beer because I'm going to do the opening of Lent. So this one might actually be the third week of Lent. On the second week of Lent, there will be no beer. It'll be very sad because it was shot tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe I'll put this one first. I don't know. But the one tomorrow, there will be no beer. I think I'm going to try a bubbly. Do my review of the bubbly waters.
You probably won't like them, but they're tasty to me.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure I'm going to hate them. There's no doubt about that.
But it satisfies that need for fizz, because I don't find that I'm craving pop that much. I find that I just want that
The fizz.
fizzy drink. And so, and it's got a little bit of flavor, depending on which, I guess,
We're trying all the brands out.
which kind you
Yeah.
have.
Or all the
but-
flavors of bubbly.
We
The
tried
bubbly
one
brand.
kind that was way too sugary. Oh my goodness, that was that aspartame or whatever. That was just way too much fake sugar. I had to give that to the kids.
Yes, you did. So, summer plans. That's your idea for this video. What are we doing this summer? Which is nice. A look forward of what we're doing.
Well,
So,
you did a lot of look backing.
I didn't want to look backing. So do we want to get all like what's going on in the geopolitical world?
No,
or are we
no,
avoiding
do
that? Okay,
not get
because
political.
we have one video. It'll probably never see the light of day. I have not fully cut it yet. It's edited. I have not cut it together because it was another hour long one that got a little political in the middle. Just a little. Just a tiny,
with
tiny,
you?
tiny bit. So, we're not going to talk about the geopolitical stuff. So, kick us off. What is your big summer goal?
Oh, summer, like overall goal?
Yeah, sure. Summer overall goal. What is it?
Have a good time.
That's lame. Come on.
Well, I want our garden to do well.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to, get more committed to having a bigger, better garden.
Okay.
I want some fruit bushes, so I want to get some blueberries, raspberries.
Some soft fruit, they call those.
Yeah, I'd love cherries and
That's hard fruit.
and stuff, but those are trees, and it's going to take a while, I think, to get
It'll
that.
take some time. That's an investment in our future.
Yeah. So I do want to do those, but I want to start with the berry bushes, because I think the kids love going to U-Picks, but how great would it be just to have them outside?
Well, to be honest, where we live, the nearest U-Pick for hard fruit is 200 miles away
Well, I
in
was
either
told
direction.
there's a cherry one local,
Is there? We got to find
but
that.
it
'Cause
does not sound like it is very.
Is this kind of who you know versus what you know?
kind of like the
Yeah.
blueberry patch is who you know.
Like the apple cider farm we went to,
Yeah.
where it's very much a who you know and
Right.
who you can schmooze. Although that was delicious. Like
Yeah. No, it's very much like wherever you end up. I guess I was told, well, just drive down this road and turn here and go there and you'll find the blueberry patch, the blueberry you pick. And I'm like, but I'm not really comfortable with.
I am. I just baha'd that crap right away.
Right? You probably would have been okay with it, but not me. No, that's.
I'm
not
hoping to
like
get
that.
some hard fruits. I do like your idea. Put them in the front yard, and then once they're established, chopping down those nasty ass pine trees we have.
Mhm.
And then we were gonna do soft fruit, just so everyone knows out there. We had it. We actually bought a lot of blueberry and raspberry bushes, and then we started digging where we wanted them to go, and I ran into concrete. And I have no idea what this concrete was for. I don't know if it was a septic or
Maybe it was a fence.
a fence. So we kind of abandoned all hope on that one. We planted them by the river, but then they didn't take, which is no surprise because there was a lot of shade there. And
Well, and we had bought them, and then we couldn't plant them, so they sat out, I think, in the garage or someplace cold
yeah, they
and
sat.
fairly
It
dark.
was
and-
it was a weird time to actually buy them because we're doing better this time. We did buy 2 more blueberry bushes, kind of early. This is early March, but we're gonna put them indoors, get them started, get them really going, and then transplant them. The raspberry and blueberries, and even the trees we bought, I think stayed in the garage for a couple of weeks, and then we put them out there. We got a couple of heavy frosts out of nowhere. It was just no bueno, no good at all. So.
Yeah, I think starting them in the house. I saw that you could do like it's almost like a sackcloth, so we could put that underneath the tree or the bushes.
But
and then
I
lift
bought
them
buckets.
out.
I bought buckets from Tractor Supply, which I'm going to turn into indoor planters. And I think that'll do really good for the blueberries. And we want to try some indoor potato plants. I've been reading about that those are the bee's knees, if you will.
We just need to put some kind of netting or something around the top of them so that the cats don't try to use them.
Why don't you put netting around the cats? Right?
So,
Well, they're nightshade though, so I don't think the cats will screw with them.
just because you say they're nightshade does not mean the cats won't mess with it.
They'll
It just
know,
means
they'll
that
know,
They'll
they'll-
die.
They'll look at
That's
their
like saying
Wikipedia.
a cat knows that a lily is poisonous and won't eat it. They still eat it. That's, they're not the brightest
True
animals.
enough.
in the
I'll give you
world.
that. So, yeah, getting some more gardening in. Our garden, I think, is if it doesn't take this year, we should just
Give up on it.
give up on
No,
it. 'Cause
that's not fair.
well, 'cause- no, the
some
reason
of the
is-
stuff we planted last year took.
some of it did. But this year, just so you guys know, all winter long, we've been dumping our chicken manure and our rabbit manure, which rabbits have just been gangbusters putting out manure. The chickens, a lot of that's been worked into the ground. If this doesn't just like explode with the best produce ever, I'm done. Like I'm done gardening. I can grow meat. My wife can grow meat. She's the best at rearing animals from birth to slaughter. Um, so if we don't get heaps of produce, I think I'm done. I'm done trying to grow stuff. I mean, tomatoes apparently my daughters can grow like no one's business.
Well, I mean, we could live off of zucchini forever.
So
The zucchini grew beautifully.
yeah, if you guys don't know, in the UP,
Radishes grew.
95% of the population can grow enough zucchini to supply a third world country with enough zucchini plants to live through the apocalypse. No one can get zucchini to fail except for one family. We found that in the UP they cannot get a zucchini to grow to save their life. I don't know how many we pull out. I mean, we were throwing more to the chickens and the turkeys and
To the kids at school.
I mean, every week we had one teacher, even one of the kids' co-op teachers, like, I can never get a zucchini to work. I think we sent her maybe 20 zucchinis.
Yeah, it was a lot, and they were big.
They were
zucchini.
huge zucchini. We were sending bags of zucchinis until she like didn't show up one week, and she's like, "Please stop! I'm done. I don't want any more zucchini." Which I mean, that's again.
And then we made zucchini crisps and zucchini bakes
we
and
made
zucchini
zucchini
bread,
bread.
and zucchini.
Even one of our daughters who's doing a cookbook has a whole chapter dedicated to zucchini because we just got so much that it really was like we had so much of it. So we'll see.
That's the other thing we need to like try to do probably before summer actually is to help the girls edit and add pictures to their books because we have a cookbook and a joke book we need to help them finish.
Oh yeah.
Which they've done all the work. They need that little bit of editing and
Well, we kind of had a pause on the booking after Swedish Compass got her book published up. We kind of took a little bit of a break, even from writing it, because I believe Wild and Free Wolf, her book needs just maybe 2 hours worth of adding shit and then.
well, it needs pictures
good edit.
and an edit, and I think it's done. And a lot of the editing shouldn't be a big deal because we kind of worked on that as we went.
Well, I mean, she's copying a lot of the recipes from books, so most of the editing should just be like if she added any like descriptors.
Well, or if she changed a word or something or a title, but yeah.
Maybe a small T to a big T.
Although, now I'm almost of the mind that, like, after this, her next cookbook should be a Lent cookbook of 40 days of recipes, like, meatless recipes.
Right? Definitely. Well, I definitely say my summer goal is a little more fun than yours. I want to make it to the Paulding Light.
That's a long drive.
That is a long drive. But after going to Swedish Compass's basketball games,
That's valid.
I think we could do. Plus, we did want to divert a little north. For those of you guys, if Grandpa is actually watching this one, we have a family member moving closer, coming into the UP, which super excited about having some of the relatives move closer to us. But Grandpa is moving about 2 hours away from his grandkids, which will be good. He's actually going to be out up in Houghton on the canal, which brings back wonderful memories of me growing up. We actually had a cabin on the canal, which when my parents bought it, it was dirt cheap. No one wanted to live on the waterfront because I believe that was the time FEMA put in the FEMA flood insurance. So although the property was cheap, you had to pay every year. You had to pay a premium to live out there. We had that property, I think, for 6, 8 years, and then my sisters decided to go to college. So mom and dad sold the property to pay for a house for them to live next to their colleges, and I believe in give them a little kicker for a car and a little kicker for their college.
I thought they just paid for a trailer.
Yeah, it was a trailer. That's where they all lived.
Well, that's not really a house.
Well, I mean, it was a place to live. I don't judge.
Yeah, but a trailer that at that point in time would have been, fraction of the cost of a house.
Not disagreeing.
Nowadays, you look at trailers and houses, and the difference is,
It's
not quite so drastic.
Yeah, it's significantly different in what you're paying. I mean, their trailer, or the trailer park, it had a pool and a clubhouse, and it was definitely, as you went through the gate, through the security guard, you kind of stick your pinky up real quick and drink your tea type place, so. But I digress. The kids will be, if they go visit Grandpa, we'll be right on the canal, so we can get into trouble. Grandpa is talking about buying a pontoon boat, a little party boat, so that in the evenings we can do evening cruises to watch the sunset and the stars and the fireworks, and then during the day we can hook up a tube and see how many broken bones and phobias we can create throughout the summer.
I'm liking that second part.
Well, to be fair, in case you guys, I don't think I've ever shared this story here. We've only been married 3 years?
We weren't married.
Weren't we? Were we still just dating when that happened?
Uh-huh.
So we got invited down to the family lake. So there's a lake that has pretty much now about 70% of the people around it are related somehow by marriage or by blood. It's slowly dwindling down. I think we were married. We were definitely married. Did I take you down there?
Yes, because that's when I met Uncle Jack and Uncle
Jerry.
Priest Jerry. And
No, it was Jack and...
Because your dad got kind of disgusted with me, I think, because I couldn't eat the raw meat.
Right.
But no, we were not married.
Okay, well, anyhow, I
slept in the room with Melinda.
Did you? That's very possible. I can't remember the other uncle. Uncle Ed. You met Uncle Ed because you went canoeing with Uncle Ed.
No, I didn't go canoeing.
Yeah, you were in the canoe with us. Well, Uncle Ed demanded that I go canoeing with him because he found out I'd been on canoe trips. And he was maybe I just went with Uncle Ed.
I think you just went with him because I was inside and Grandma was like, well, your grandmother. Grandma was like, no, they'll wait for you. Because I must have been doing something else.
Yeah, could be. So anyway, we're my dad, kids, his grandpa, says, "Hey, son, you gotta impress your girlfriend." We must have been dating at that time. We had to have been. Dating. You gotta impress your girlfriend. Why don't you get out on the tube and we'll do some fun tricks. You and your brother will do some jumping from tube to tube and smashing into each other and skipping and okay. All right, Dad. I'll sure. I've been tubing in years.
I don't know if your brother was there.
My brother was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was he?
Yeah, he was definitely there. So we're having some fun. Maybe even some of the cousins. I think we were doing this game where you jump from tube to tube and you stand up and stuff. Well, there's an old trick. We do it. I don't want to name the lake, but there's this lake. It's called the lake trick, where they jet as fast as they can towards the shoreline, and last second they turn and then gun it, and it creates this massive. It's called crack the whip, and what you do is you let go at the end of the whip crack, and you skip into shore, and you run up onto the shore, and you look all cool, like, yeah. So Grandpa was here, my dad. We're doing these tricks and stuff, and I know it's time to crack the whip. Well, he was trying to explain to my wife what crack the whip was, what I was supposed to do, while he was initiating the maneuver. And you can't crack the whip early, so you can't jump out of the tube before this like maximum point. And as he like hits this maximum point, it turns out he, instead of shooting me towards shore, shot me towards the dock. And there is actually a video of it.
Is there a video of that?
There is a video.
Anita was there.
Anita got one from the boat. So what he did was he cracked me into the dock. Luckily, I don't know, instinct, intuition, adrenaline rush, whatever you want to call it. Pure luck.
The tube.
I was able to cockeye the tube, quickly cantilever it up, hit the post of the dock. I then went flying over the dock into the water. Grandpa and my dad thought he killed me. He didn't see me actually hit the tube. He just saw me hit the dock and fly. So he thought I was dead. I think you even thought I was... I don't know if you saw me actually hit the tube.
I saw you hit the side.
Yeah, so he thought my wife was BA, all badass, because she's all like, he'll be fine. And I think there was much respect there, when she's like, oh, stupid boys. Just like, whatever, go pick them up. I was fine. I think I hurt the next morning. I took my... I think back then it was only 400 Motrin. Back the good old days when you could take what was actually prescribed on the bottle. Now I'm up to 8 to 1,600 Motrins if I do something dumb like that, like sledding. So anyhow, Grandpa, but a pontoon boat can't, because they did have, that was a jet boat. That was a
bit of a speedboat.
That was a speedboat. With a pontoon boat.
Well, I did ride on the back of a tube of that boat. I don't know if you actually remember.
I remember you going, but I remember my dad being all like...
He was very...
He was careful.
Well, after he did that, actually, I don't even know if I got on... I think I might have gone before you, because I don't know if there was any chance on Earth that I would have gone after seeing you fly.
You definitely went before I did. You definitely
and that's funny, because I used to go tubing as a teenager with my best friend all the time. Like, her grandpa owned
that lake is just, that's a dangerous, you got to be careful there. That's...
I don't think that was the lake operator, maybe, or just practice, local practices.
Right.
Crazy, but no, like, I used to go tubing all the time, and it was a blast. I'd go with my best friend, and she'd have her birthday parties out on the lake where her grandpa owned a beautiful house, and we'd just have a huge picnic, and it was fantastic. But no, never had that happen. But in fairness, though, like, we didn't do the games you guys did where you try to leap from one person's tube to somebody else's.
Oh, it's...
Like, so we didn't do that.
Grandpa used to talk about, so at this lake, he actually grew up part of his life at this lake. I think it was more of a summer thing. He kind of makes it sound like it was like this is where he grew up thing, but I think this is where his memories were. They would actually put on shows. So he talks about nailing skis to a chair. And, skiing on this chair while being pulled on a rope. And when I was a kid, actually, I remember him and my uncle actually put on a little show. So they, like, held the rope, and they had a trick rope where you could hang with your teeth, you could hang with your foot, you drop a ski, you barefoot it, the whole 9 yards. Then I do remember a bunch of Motrin coming out. I remember that was just Motrin City the next day.
Well, I think your dad did grow up there, though.
I think
because Grandma talked about living there a long time.
But I mean, he grew up in Flint. That's where he actually spent a lot of his childhood.
I've never heard him even talk about that.
Yeah, no one talks about living in Flint. Sorry for the Flint viewers, but no one talks about living in Flint. No, he lived in Flint, and that's kind of the big secret. Is that he actually grew up a lot of his childhood. He went to, even the church he went to, the Catholic school he went to was in Flint.
I don't know.
And he won't talk about that. He talks about the lake because I think that was fun. Now, I don't know if, like, they eventually moved to the lake or if they just spent summers there. So this is where he, quote unquote, grew up. Air quotes, grew up.
Well, in fairness, um, maybe it's genetic. It's not like you have the best memory of your childhood.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing because, like, I'll talk about I grew up on the canal at the cabin. I mean, there are memories of me reaching manhood. All right, I had some dumb shit I did while I was there. So I'm not going to disagree on that at all. And I don't slight my dad if that really was his, like, experience. Be careful. Oh, you turn it to high or?
No, just a little higher than the low.
So I'm not going to slight my dad at all if that's. I do get the impression though that growing up there was more like.
It's just a generation.
It could be.
Because my dad talks about the island, and they didn't buy a cabin on the island until the 70s, but they spent every summer there.
Yeah.
And that we had a lot of family there, so my dad spent a lot of his summers on the island, but it wasn't like. So he talks about it, and a lot of his best memories from childhood and stuff are from the island, but he didn't actually like live there. Like,
So I can see our kids, especially Jeremiah. So before we moved in the house we're currently in, we lived in the fishing cabin.
900 square foot.
If
bedroom.
that, if 3 bedrooms, I'll give it that. Maybe 900 square feet. When I was in the transition from my last job to the job that I got when I moved us over here, we lived in this little rinky-dink fishing cabin for what? I think 3 months. When I lived in it for I think 9.
I don't know. Well, see, we weren't supposed to live in it at all, but our house sold so quickly that.
Yeah, out of nowhere, our house sells.
And like usually where we lived before, like houses would be on the market for 2-3 years, so it was we've got plenty of time. And then it sold so fast that we were like, okay, like I think I put it on the market maybe a week before Christmas that year, and it was like we had viewings before Christmas.
Yeah, we had an offer that next after January.
No, we had an offer before January. We had an offer in December. So it sold fast, and it was just kind of the slow,
the paperwork,
and
inspections,
everything took a long time, but
the bank and
the banks and all the other drama with the land.
Because it took until March you guys moved in there?
I think we moved to the cabin.
No, it was April.
It was like the first week of April because we were supposed to move 2 weeks earlier, and we had gotten violently sick. We had a terrible flu bug. And if you ever want to have the worst experience ever, have 6 kids with a terrible flu bug living in a completely packed up home where you have nothing to eat off of, no bowls because all the bowls are packed, no beds because all the beds have been taken down. So we were sleeping on mattresses on the floor. And so that we didn't make messes in the rest of the house, we were just in one room, I think in the basement.
Right, it was April. So I think it was,
I think we moved in
April, May, I think May we were in here, so 2 months.
Just after her birthday.
Yeah, so about 2 months we were in this little.
But we had come to the cabin twice, so we had lived in the cabin with you. We went back to the other house to finish packing up, and that's when we got sick. So we've been there quite a bit.
Yeah, but it still is our youngest male son. He has these vivid memories. Even our daughters have these vivid memories of this cabin, which is hilarious because we have more space, more outdoors, more property, more yardage, more.
They just have fond memories of it, which is funny because our oldest daughter did nothing but complain because she had to share a room with her 2 younger sisters.
Her 2 youngest sisters, the one hid under a tree 90% of the time. Waking hours, she'd be under this damn pine tree, calling it her treehouse, fort, castle, whatever. She still does that today to this one. I mean, now she's got 3 pine trees to hide under, but really, as our youngest son, I think is still gonna he's like, wow, I stayed in this cabin, and that's where I grew up.
But even our oldest son Like his I don't know if he's told you, like,
Yeah,
he
his
wants,
goal is to buy the cabin.
yeah, his goal is to buy it, so that's kind of funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering, like, he was the one that I thought would have the hardest time sharing a room with our youngest son.
Because he's never, ever had to share a room.
He's never had to share a room. And they're polar, well, actually, they're so much alike, it's insane.
Yeah, they're so much like their opposites.
Yeah, like, they both make sounds nonstop. They both are goofy. They both, like, need their space. They need things their way. They both have this, like, no, it goes here. No, it goes there. No, it goes here. No, it goes there. But they did really well in the cabin.
Yeah, they did very good in the cabin.
So,
So I don't know. I think that's my dad's. I mean, maybe we should tackle him down and actually get that story for the kids as lexicon of growing up. Because they've definitely gotten your dad's extended history of crap he's done while growing up.
well, now, in fairness, a lot of them were asleep for most of those stories.
True enough, but
I love those stories, though. They're fun.
they're good stories.
They're good stories.
I do find it funny that both of our dads stole shit from a Catholic school or a Catholic church.
Now, you can't say it was stolen when he
It
was
was promised to your dad. It was
It was a bet with a
a
nun.
bet with a nun. I'm not going to disagree that there is more to that story than my dad's. My dad's is more talking about the penguins and.
Yeah.
No, it's good times. We definitely need to record your dad one of these times, and maybe my dad, and do one of these cigar garage talks with both our fathers to get these stories recorded, or maybe recount them one night. One night, maybe we'll do a parents remembered story. Because there are some goofy ass
Oh,
stories.
there's some stories I wish my dad would tell. That'd be
Right?
fun to have recorded for the kids later on. Mom's got some pretty good ones too, though.
My dad has a lot of injuries. Like a lot of really like bad parenting stories. Like, you know, when my sisters learned how to drive.
Okay, well, there's that.
You know,
My
or,
dad doesn't have those stories, oddly enough. No.
you know, my dad was inadvertently included in the study to, you know, how can you tell if a part of a human body is injured on a male? And
No, my dad doesn't have any of those stories. But my dad, you know, his
oh yes, he does.
You know, he's got a bunch of silly stories from when he was a teenager. But once his kids are around, a lot of those like nobody young took off with a vehicle. I mean, I have older siblings who stole mom and dad's car and snuck out at night in mom and dad's car, but they were all old enough to drive. Actually, they got in trouble for it, of course, but it wasn't a like 7-year-old.
Well, so we better tell the story for all posterity sakes.
I actually don't remember if it was 7, so.
Yeah, it was my two oldest sisters. One was the ripe old age of 6. One was the ripe old age of 4. They were out with grandpa, or with their dad. My kids' grandpa, so let's call him grandpa. What the hell? Their dad, sure. They're out in the field. And back then, you had a farm truck. So this is the truck that was on the farm. It wasn't registered. It didn't have a license plate. You just kind of baha'd around the property. Well, and again, it depends on which sister you talk to. I've had both kids talk to both of their aunts to get the story of what actually happened, and it's drastically different. One talks about how she was forced. The other one talked about how it was a team effort. Anyhow, as Grandpa's out checking the fields, he had his two oldest daughters in the truck, kind of just sitting there waiting for Grandpa to be done. And regardless, the oldest grabbed the steering wheel, and somehow the youngest was charged with working the brakes and the gas. And somehow we went from neutral, because it was a stick shift, into first gear. So one of them had to work the clutch, another one had to work the stick, and they're baha'ing across what was that? That would have been the east field, the east 20. They're baha'ing across this in first gear. My second oldest sister's working the gas. My oldest sister's working the steering wheel. Grandpa Jim is bawling across the field running. Luckily, he was a marathon runner. Try and catch up to them. Moral of the story, he did. Barely. As they're going towards a rather conspicuous pond that was on the property. He did save the farm truck from hitting the pond. That's the moral of the story.
Should the moral be he saved your sisters and the truck?
I mean, he kept it out of the pond, which they would have been fine. They hit the pond, it would have slowed them down. They're only in first gear, so they're going 88 miles per hour to travel back into time type stuff. But I mean, there's just I don't know. Farms just have fun stories because there's also the one where my
dad talks about the tractor, driving the tractor into the pond.
Driving the tractor in the pond, that's true. I like the one we talked about the federal building where you had the car that fit up the stairs.
Oh.
Right? He drove the car up the stairs of the federal building.
No, my favorite one is where he talks about borrowing his dad's car and they backed up and they hit like one of those metal stoppers.
Stanchions, yeah.
And the door bent and they got out and they kicked the door in and then who did they blame it on? Like was it a sister or something like that?
I think so, yeah, one of your dad's sisters.
Or maybe my dad's dad thought he did it.
Yeah. Because he had a few too many libations.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I mean, nothing beats my dad's story of getting run over by his own tractor.
See, that's why they have safeties in the moon.
See, I wish they did, but yeah, my dad got ran over by his own tractor.
And every time I drive our lawnmower, I think of that, and I'm like, I'm gonna die when I go over when I do that.
Right. Well, no, this was just something got bound up. I think he was running the disc, and no, it wasn't the disc. It must have been the cedar. He was running the cedar, and something got bound up, and he got out. And as he was walking back up to get into the cab, he left it in first gear, which was pretty common with tractors. Like it's called a creeper gear. So that the engine, what's it called? The spindle keeps spinning. So he can actually diagnose what's wrong. I think there was something stuck in it, so he had to get it unstuck so it starts seating again. And as he walked up, it lurched and it ran him over. It ran over the left side of his body. And, that's one of the times we should have called the ambulance. I remember we didn't. He drove the tractor in, and he's like, I think I need to go into the hospital. And I swear he probably drove himself in. He drove himself in more times than not. You wouldn't call the hospital or call the ambulance because, God forbid, one of the first responders in the town we were in has to call the ambulance for himself because he got ran over by his own 10-ton tractor. International. Second place, award-winning for tractor pull.
Harvester.
Yeah, right. That sucker was huge. Can't call 911 for that.
You really can't call this summer plans now, though, because we've kind of really got.
We got a little rambling. I'm going to say summer plans. Well, let's go back to summer. What else do you have got planned for the summer? So of course, you don't know what the Paulding light is. It is a ghost light that appears without fail. In Paulding, Michigan. It is supposed to be. There was actually a Discovery Channel. They actually investigated this light, and what a lot of people think it's car lights. You can see car lights from I think it's 25 miles away that look like this light, ghost light flighting, but they actually closed down the road and it still appeared. So is one of the few. Factor Faked on Discovery did a whole program on it. They've since said they want to test something else. So there's something they did wrong in their initial test, but they shut down the road and everything. The Paulding light still came out. They still got to see it. The legend is that it's a signaler. A little boy ran out because the track was out and he tried to signal the train to stop. The train didn't stop. It killed the boy, ran over his arm and everything else. And now he still, every night, signals the train to stop.
That's pretty gruesome.
Oh yeah. Swedish Compass needs to write a little art. She's been writing articles on urban myths and cryptids in the
Yes.
UP.
I'll have to go over some of those.
We'll have to have to do the Paul. But the Paulding Lights one I want to have them check out. I'm half tempted for them to do the Quincy Mine Shaft. That tour is amazing. I mean, if you want to see what it was like to live, 1920s, 1800s, the guys doing the hand drills by candlelight. They even let you hit some steel to see what, pounding on steel feels like.
Well, it would be nice to do a few, I guess, field trips or experiences this year, because we didn't really do any last year.
Yes, we did.
Not last year.
Oh,
That was
yeah,
the year
last year we
before.
did. No, we did last year, too.
What did we do last year?
What did we do? Fayette was last year.
Well, yeah, Fayette. We did that 3 times.
We did Fayette a bunch, but we still did it.
But
We checked out another one, too. We checked a couple off the list for the kids. We did Big Springs.
Well, yeah, but we've done that.
We did that. The kids
I
did.
more mean something bigger, not the little
With Grandpa Jim now
most
being.
of that was stuff that we drove to, and okay, maybe it was a bit of a hike, but we drove to it. We came home. It was not a long
With Grandpa Jim being there, we
overnight.
definitely have to check out Fort Wilkins.
The only thing that's a concern is all the animals. We'll have to figure that out. But.
Yeah, the animals will be a bit of an issue, but I think I can get those auto feeders in the chicken coop. And the rabbits, I don't know, we can just make sure they don't have kits. We'll have to slaughter off all the kits before we go.
Right. It's funny because I was like, well, if we time everything right, we'll have this litter of kits, and then once this litter of kits is big enough, it'll finally be warm enough.
Right. Yeah. The only other thing I want to do this summer, I want to build another pizza oven. And I think this one, so we built a pizza oven back at the old homestead. The thing was amazing. It was actually one of the, I think that'll go as my, hoping if I get Alzheimer's or dementia, that's my one memory I'm going to hang on to. Because it was one of the coolest projects ever, because it was 100% the kids. The kids were like, we want to build a pizza oven. So I did some research on it. We dug clay. The kids stomped the clay with thatch and sand, and
That was right after Abby was born.
just barely. Yeah, I don't think she.
Because I think she was barely a week old the first time we went to get clay.
Went to get clay. They stomped their own clay. We built it. We looked at the parameters. We built it actually as, and well, okay, top secret. Don't tell anyone. I did add some reinforcing chicken wire inside there. A little modern versus traditional. But I mean, other than that, it was 100% traditional, 1800s traditional clay oven. Which it was the toast of town. I mean, we had priests who came to check it out. We had deacons who came to try to check it out. We had friends who were like, you have a wood-fired clay oven in your backyard. Like, yeah, we have a wood-fired clay oven in our... No, seriously, like a clay oven in your back. Yes, we have a clay oven in our backyard. I mean, that was the toast of town. This time, though, I think I'm going to make it out of concrete.
I want it taller.
Oh yeah, bigger.
I don't want to have to.
Bigger.
I don't want to have to bend over to be able to fit a mini pizza in there. I want it.
Well, more. I don't want it to be mini pizzas. I want legit, 16 at least 6. Because I think what was it, 12-inch pizzas we made or something.
I don't know. It was pretty small. It fit the pan, but it was tight.
It was tight, and it was fun. I mean, that was a learning curve, because I think what did we make first, cherry crepes.
I don't even know.
It was the little pudgy pies, I think I used to call them, which we burned the living crap out of with the first ones. But the insides were, when you break off the burnt crust, the insides were delicious. The pizzas, even that one deacon, we only had him over once. He was a seminarian. He was a deacon at the time. He was a seminarian.
He's a deacon now. He was
No, he's a priest now. He's a full-fledged priest. He's up in Houghton.
I think he was a seminarian at the time, though.
He was a
wasn't
seminarian, but he had done his deaconship because you
I
do
didn't
your
think he had yet.
Yeah, he had done his deaconship, and then he got his priesthood. Regardless, he was a seminary. He's becoming a priest, and cooking pizza, drinking homebrew cider. He was so amazed by it. I mean, he was so like, this is so amazing. I mean, he only came over to our house once, right? I think it was just once.
Yeah, I think it was one.
Yeah, he had a dedicated year-long like prayer service for us at this seminarian that down in Detroit. There's some little chapels and little churches. One of the churches, we got noted that he was doing a year-long prayer service for us because he was so amazed by like how well we treat it. When I felt guilty after I got that card from him. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, all we did was cook him some well-burnt pizza.
That one wasn't burnt.
It wasn't burnt. It was actually very, I mean, it did have, like, the kids were in charge. So with a clay oven, in case you guys ever make your own, every pizza, pie, whatever you make in there has a little bit of clay worked into it. Yeah, it was weird because he was just amazed by this pizza. We cooked him his own pizza. I gave him some homebrew, which he absolutely adored. I think we sent him home with some. And then the next thing I know, like, he's finishing seminary, and we had moved to here, and we get a letter basically saying he was doing, I think it was a year, wasn't it?
I think it was once a week for a year.
Once a week for a year. So 52 church services were dedicated to our family. So we just that's just good for our family to make another pizza oven and invite all the locals.
I want to do a party, a summer party for the kids where we can invite their friends and homeschool group. And
Pool parties would be nice. Oh, there goes a little mouse.
I don't like the idea of a pool party, but everybody, no. All right, anybody who knows me well knows that I don't swim very well, and I have some serious anxiety
Phobias.
with children near water. So, actually, the water, the pool, and the river were in big negative
Yeah,
for
right. You
buying
almost
this
didn't get
house.
this place because of that.
Because I have a lot of anxiety. So I love the idea, like the concept of having a pool party, but I know that the moment other people's children are here, I'm going to be a nervous wreck.
You just gotta stay away from the pool. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, but I can't. Like,
Yeah,
I
right.
hear screaming and I run. Like, I hear somebody yelling and I run. And so it's going to be, it would be miserable for me.
Granted, true.
So I actually dread the idea of doing a pool party because I love the idea. We have the pool. It would make so much sense. And I know all the kids would have a great time, but it terrifies me. So
Yeah, definitely.
I do want to have some get-togethers with
Well, especially with now we're getting really into the homeschooling.
community.
Yeah, this
here.
last summer and now, more this that last fall and now we've really, the homeschooling group really shut down for the most part. So, but now the kids all have some good friends and they're trying to make some more friends. So I think that does have to happen where we invite them all out and over and
Do some kind of barbecue or something.
Barbecue. I mean, if you want me to build a whole entire like outdoor barbecue set, I'm cool.
I
with that.
really just want an outdoor table.
I mean, a table can happen.
I really want people to eat outside. Our children to eat outside in the summer. I love being out in the sunshine, and we can't really, like, unless we're going to eat in the grass, which is fun for a picnic, but when you're talking about every day with bugs and everything else, it's not very comfortable.
Yeah, we definitely got to build. Well, I think we have to blow up that one flower garden. I think legit. Like, I'll get some tannerite. We'll get a
Yeah,
rifle.
no,
we'll just destroy the shit out of
But
it.
that beer's talking.
That beer in the next one's gonna be talking just great because. All right, fine. We'll grab the tiller. So there is a flower garden out here. I'm sure if we were into flowers, it would be the bee's knees, the talk of town. But we chop that sucker up, put a strawberry patch in there, and then in front of it, build the pizza oven, maybe an outdoor grill, a little patio, and then build some sort of table. I don't know what yet. If we want to do wooden, if we want to do more of a like a concrete and steel. What do we actually want to do with it?
I don't know. I just want a table outside.
Mm-hmm. We've seen a couple of winners, but
Well, I'd be okay with one of the folding tables and the benches, just to have something that is a little more portable. Because then you can move it from the front yard to the backyard to the
take it
down
out
by
to the beach,
river,
or
take it down to the beach. Yeah.
take it out to the park, this top secret park that no one knows about, but apparently is surrounded by 50 cameras now.
Right. So yeah, I definitely want to do more with friends and inviting people over, and I think that would be good and a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well,
I
not to get too political, but
oh, here we go.
I mean, I'm just saying, maybe by the middle of summer, if we have like 6 rabbits, people are going to come in droves just to have some meat finally. Because
right.
did I show the video of what some Walmarts are doing?
No, don't. I don't want to hear.
I got to throw it in there real quick. They're putting security cages around their steaks.
Why?
Because people are stealing them in droves. So let's get away from political stuff. I mean, we make a mean rabbit, in case you guys are wondering. They're delicious. Grandpa actually has already put in an order for a half dozen rabbits when he gets up here, because he is excited that we have some meat varieties. I'm sure Wild and Free Wolf will try to sell him on a live rabbit. She is definitely our salesperson. In case I don't think I've mentioned this before, she doesn't mind that we harvest them, that we harvest the meat. There's nothing wrong with that. She doesn't mind that at all. But even like she was at her dental appointment, I guess, and she was trying to convince the dentist and the hygienist that they both needed a rabbit. We have rabbits. They're cute and cuddly, and if you get sick of them, they're yummy and tasty. And she's our salesperson when it comes to those vermin.
They're not vermin.
Mm-mm.
They're way too well maintained to be vermin.
They're very maintained. They're spoiled. But yeah, they're tasty too. Oh, I'm hoping we can do more with their pelts. Just so you know, we do try to save their pelts. I think I showed in one of the videos we have a couple of pelts hanging. And I mean, I've done a lot of trapping, a lot of pelt handling, but usually you just skin the animal out, and then you send the pelt off to the company to process it. We're trying to actually tan our own hides. Definitely a learning curve, which is fine. That's how we do everything on the homestead here. It's we research it, try it. We have a lot of failures, tons of failures. Snow off the car there. But that's part of what, especially I've talked about in other videos, where it's let's just do it. We research. Let's do it. That's where we're with the hides right now. They're definitely in the research phase. The 2 we actually have that's been drying since last year, I think are going to be more rawhide. We've had a couple people actually suggest that we send them the rawhide down to them so they can use it for other purposes, which might happen. So, any other good summer plans you got?
Just keep plugging away, I guess. Keep raising rabbits, because that's just fun. I want to do something outdoor for the rabbits, so we can have an outdoor colony and the indoor.
No.
So I think that'd be nice. But we take the rabbits out every day when it's warm.
When it's warm out, they're well handled and played with. And, the only thing I want to do is we do have a local gun club. really want the kids to get out and start shooting more. I think the BB gun and the pellet gun are going to come out this summer a lot more to start getting the kids' accuracy up. My two oldest, I hate saying this even out loud. One is going to be 16, 6, going to start driving classes. The other one is already 14. So the 16-year-old, I think it's time to take him out to deer camp. But he's got to start putting a lot of rounds down range, getting used to shooting bigger guns. That is one thing. We've been doing a lot of prepping projects this winter. I really wanted this to be the video where I finally have my wood stove going. Just in case any of you are going to be putting your own wood stove in, do realize that the Super Vent and the Duravent are not, I repeat, not compatible with each other. That's kind of a kick to the Jimmy there. I bought a bunch of Super Vent pipes, and then the Tractor Supply had a Duravent out the wall system, and it turns out they're not compatible. Shame on me. I should have probably researched a little more on that. But hopefully we'll definitely have that system in here in the next month. I think we'll have this place wood heated, which would be nice, a lot cheaper than the kerosene and propane we're running right now to keep everyone roasty toasty comfortable. But yeah, getting the other project I want to do is I actually have a rifle that I bought for the kids specifically. And the two things I want to add to it is a suppressor. So when they shoot at an animal, they don't have to wear ear protection. Their dad is actually going a little deaf due to his childhood of firing a lot of big guns. So we're going to get a suppressor, and then I also want to get a digital scope. That's totally so if they do take a shot at a deer or a big game animal, I can see if it's worth tracking. Did they actually get a hit, get a good kill shot, or did they miss? Those are the two things, but that's going to set us back. Those two things will probably set us back about $1,200. So kind of a big investment, but luckily, my wife especially, when it comes to spending money on the kids, the wallet opens up a little bit.
Or whatever, Mr.
Don't say it.
Double Vents.
Mm-hmm.
And stove.
Mm-hmm.
And other toys.
And other toys. Hopefully one of these days soon I can mention those toys in public. But a story for another video, I suppose. As far as other summer projects for me, I don't think there's many others. The kids did find fossils last summer. We were just kind of poking around our river, and there was some developing around the river, shall I say. I don't want to get too specific. And one of the rocks that was excavated during the developing probably had somewhere around 50 fossils in the Precambrian, I believe it's the period. They're little worms and shellfish and whatnot. They're really amped now about finding more fossils this summer.
Mm-hmm. Well, they just like exploring things in general.
And the only thing I want to try, this has been a multi-summer project, I've failed every year, is to find gold in our river. There is actually supposed to be gold, little fleck gold. We found black sand, which, in case you're not aware, that's magnetite sand. So it's magnetic, but when you find black sand, there's supposed to be gold inside there. We have not actually found a single gold fleck. Now, granted, I haven't really went all gung-ho into it, but I'm hoping we can get just a couple little flakes to get the kids a little excited about it. But I can definitely say we're not going to retire from from our jobs based on the gold we're finding, because that's not going to happen. That's not a thing. But something to get them a little excited and curious about geology. That, and we finally bought a rock hammer, which I think is sitting right up there. So they can kind of break into... We had a couple rocks last year. The kids were kind of funny. I found a rock that I thought was a geode. So we cracked into it. Turned out not a geode. It was shocking. It was granite. Go figure. In the UP, that's what we have, granite and basalt. But the kids, I think, grabbed probably like 30 rocks they thought were geodes. The dad still has to crack into this summer, so I'm half tempted. If I could find a geology for kids class, I think I'd let them dive into that a little bit.
We got a couple books on it.
We do. But we're at 1 hour and 30 seconds. So I think we're getting there.
Well, this time it was you talking a lot.
Oh, you talked a bunch too.
I did not.
We went totally. We were totally going off stream of thought.
Very stream of consciousness.
Oh yes. So, anything else you want to talk about this summer?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm sure there's more that'll come up as we get closer.
Yeah,
I'm just excited for the snow to melt.
Right. Wait for the summer. The equinox. The summer equinox is coming. We'll probably do an update. I did a winter solstice. I've done the fall solstice videos, kind of updates. I like doing those. I'm not for any like pagan reasons, more just because it's a passage of time. So stay tuned. Where the summer equinox video will tell you how the summer's going. So anyway, hope you're all doing good out there. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.